And sorry, we're getting started a few minutes late. We wanted to make sure everybody got logged in. We had some technical difficulties with our link. So we're so glad you're here with us. This is a new venture for us, kind of trying to connect with people via webinar so that it's hopefully more convenient for you and we can help address some of the questions that you have while you're thinking about going back to school. Working with adult students, we hear these questions over and over and over and over. So just know that you're not the only one having these feelings and having these thoughts, and hopefully by us talking and hearing from people that are doing it right now, it will hopefully help you feel a little more confident about going back to school and thinking through all of the things that that you want to consider before doing so. So we'll get started. I'll introduce us, maybe. All right. So with us we have Diane Bariza. Diane is the wife, mom of 2, full-time employee, full-time student, full-time mom, full-time chauffeur, full-time everything. And she is going to tell you and give you a glimpse into her experience and her schedule and how she's making it all work. Randy actually was with us on another webinar last night, but we have a recording of his kind of insight that we can send you when we're done, so that you can hear from his perspective as well. And I am not Billy Schaefer. He's actually sick today. My name is Kristen Ritterbush, and I'm filling in. So hopefully we will get through this.
We will answer all the questions
unscathed. Before we get started, there is an opportunity for you to ask questions. There's a Q&A at any time. Type a question in there and we will address it, and I'll make sure that we stop and ask for questions at the end as well. But at any time you have a question, type it in there and we will get it answered, and it can be for myself or Diane. So we'll go ahead and just work our way through these questions. The very first one, time. Time is one of the most valuable resources that we have. Sure, you already have a hectic schedule with family and work, so how can you find the time for school? So I'll turn it over to Diane.
For me, time is the biggest problem. I commute 30 minutes to work, and I have 13 and 10-year-old sons that are very busy in after-school activities and school and sports. And I work 40 to 50 hours myself. So one of the things I do is I keep my backpack with me. So I keep my computer with me. I find Wi-Fi. I study whenever I can, whether it's my lunch break or a quick break at work. It's while I'm in the car waiting for the kids to get done with their activities. It is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice for my entire family. They've had to kick in and help with extra chores or, dinners on the fly. We have cereal some nights for dinner, but we make it work. We do make it work because it's something that I've wanted for years. I've gone back and forth with should I or shouldn't I. I've come and enrolled and backed out, and I finally am taking the plunge, and I've been in it for. Well, last summer I took 2 small classes, and I've been in it full time since then. And I can say that this time next year I'll be graduating. So it's worth the time sacrifice. It is.
Awesome. That's exciting. So as alluding to what Diane had said, I know you do a lot of online classes, right?
I've taken 2 classes or 1 class here that wasn't offered online. Everything else is online. I've taken from 16-week classes to 8-week classes that are formatted to be more condensed. So it's, heavier obligation, but shorter time. I've done a little bit of everything.
Okay. All right. So we have at John Wood, we have a lot of opportunity to find something that fits your schedule, whatever that might be. We've got some classes that are offered in the evening if you want to have that classroom time. Our online program is growing tremendously. It's a very similar experience to the classroom. You get to know the instructors, you get to know your classmates, and then you can go full-time, which is 12 hours and up, or you can go part-time. Now the trade-off, of course, if you go full-time, you finish sooner, but you've got a more full load. If you go part-time, not as much of a load, but it takes a little longer to get it done.
And I think this may be in the webinar later, but I'll say that I had a goal on how quickly I wanted to finish. I told my advisor that I want to be done when my oldest finishes 8th grade. So that's next May. And so he has worked with me to see what will work for me, whether it's the 8-week classes or the 16-week classes. And we've kept in mind when I want to finish and tried to juggle it so that it's not too much, because I don't want unrealistic expectations. But so we've tried to kind of space out the classes in a way that I can succeed with my goal, but also succeed in the classes.
Awesome. So very customized for your family and your schedule and your needs and your goals.
And we relook at it every few months. We touch base and we relook at where we are, how I'm doing, and what my goals are, and will the 16-week work. And I've actually combined for next semester. I'm taking summer classes, but then next full semester I'm going to do one 16-week class, and then 8 weeks and also
8 week.
So we're combining. You can combine them too.
Right.
So it really is customizable for your schedule.
Okay. Excellent. On to the next question. Am I smart enough? How, for some of you, it's been 10, 20 maybe years since you've been in a class. So I know that's a big concern that we hear. So I'll let Diane take that one.
For me, it's been 20 plus years since I graduated high school. And of course I wondered, am I smart enough? Some of my son's 7th grade homework is not always easy, but I do feel like everyone is smart enough. And the biggest thing here is I believe that the administration at John Wood and the teachers all want you to succeed. So as long as you're willing to ask questions and put forth the time and effort, absolutely, you're smart enough. Absolutely. The biggest thing is do not get behind, because I feel like trying to catch up can be overwhelming, and that's in everything. But if you stay on top of it, ask questions, the professors I've had have always been good about getting right back to me.
Awesome. And it looks like we've got a question. How much time do you spend studying?
It just depends what class it is. In economics, I spent quite a bit more time than I did in Spanish, because I had experience with Spanish and it came easier to me, so I didn't have to put in as many hours. With with other classes that are tougher for me, I can read it and it goes out my mind, so I have to use my highlighter and I have to write my notes and maybe reread it, so then I'm putting in a few more hours than normal. But basically, I try, my goal is an hour or two each day. If I don't get to an hour or two each day, I try to block out, like a 3 or 4 hour session in the weekend where I tell my husband, you've got the kids and I need this 4-hour block to study or to catch up. But a lot of it is, there's work along the way before the test. So those work leading up into the test, they help you too. So I hope that answers that. If it doesn't, let me know and I'll try to answer it further.
No, perfect. All right. We'll go on to the next part here. So just following up on what Diane had to say, getting to know your instructors is a really important piece. Get to know them by name. You want them to know you by name. Ask questions, email them. one of the wonderful things, if you're taking online classes, is that you still have the campus. Like you could still come and physically meet during office hours with your professor, or you can email back and forth. You can chat with them, get to know the instructors.
I've always had, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I've always had every email I've sent, it's had a quick response. And they tell you at the beginning of each class, though, I've had a professor say, on weekdays, I respond within this time period. On the weekends, I'll reply in this time period. And they always have replied. I had one issue where I worked for, 2 hours on this one project, and I deleted it somehow instead of saved it. And he gave me extra time, and he worked with me, and he understood, and it was fine. It all worked out good.
Okay, awesome. Again, do not get behind. Do the work, reading assignments. I think that probably goes without saying, but I know that some people think that online classes in particular are not on as strict of a schedule as a classroom class, and that can't be farther from the truth.
Yeah, they give you, and you have the syllabus at the beginning of each class, and it tells you what's expected in what time frame. And each week you have reading assignments or worksheet assignment, whatever it is. You have your assignments and your expectations for each week, and you have deadlines.
Right. So setting aside that time and sticking to your schedule and your time management. Tutoring support, we do have tutoring on campus, and then we also have some online tutoring things available in the student portal, where you can, send off a paper and have someone read it and give you feedback. Lots of things like that. There's support programs like Trio and Perkins, depending on if you qualify for them. The library is a fantastic resource. I know Diane just said that she had been here using it.
I did. I've actually used the tutoring support too. I wasn't sure how that would work, but with one of my first papers that I wrote, I just kind of walked in. They have your tutoring hours are listed in the library. I think in the library tab of the website, and I walked in and they helped me with that. I've gone in for math tutoring before, and there's, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, there's just open sessions where, yes, you can schedule, but you can also just walk in there here certain hours.
Correct.
And some of those hours are of the evening as well. I think the paper, the reading and paper, I can't even remember what it's called, but she's here more during the day over the lunch hour, and then math, I know he's here during the day and the evening, and I have utilized both of those. And the library, I hadn't walked into a library in a long time. I had to ask how to use certain aspects of the library, and they didn't make me feel silly. They helped, and it was all good.
Well, and I know we were chatting before we got started, and Diane said that while she sets aside time at home, sometimes she just needs a place to get away so that people aren't saying, Mom, where's this? Or Mom, how do I do that?
Absolutely.
And so just so that you can separate yourself and have that complete solitude to focus.
Absolutely. And you can get logged in. I don't take my laptop to the computer. I just log in, or to the library. I just log in on one of the computers available there, and with my John Wood login and password, I just do it from there. And even if I don't need help, I just need to, like you said, just get out of the house, because it's easy to want to do laundry or do the dishes or one of those million things that's on the to-do list, or the kids that know that dad can help them but want mom to. So the library's open, I believe, until 8 or 8:30. So I do come of an evening for a couple hours.
Excellent. All right. And keep in mind, if you have questions at any time, just type them in that Q&A box and we'll get them answered. All right. A biggie. Can I afford to go to school? Yes, time is probably one of the biggest things to consider, but it kind of comes down to being able to afford it still, But one of the questions, we're going to cover the financial side of it, but we also want to consider what the cost is of not doing it, and can you afford to not do it? So we'll go ahead and I'll let Diane
Well,
get started.
Again, it's been 20 plus years for me, and I have applied for school before, but I had never actually got as far as the FAFSA part of it, and it was scary to me. Actually, I did what I could, and then Billy in admissions, he checked it over for me, walked me through the rest of it, and after I did it the first time, the second time I had to do it, it was pretty simple, actually. And I will say that everyone here has been helpful. I attended an adult education evening where they gave the same sort of information, but here at John Wood, and there were people presenting scholarship opportunities, and believe it or not, there are scholarship opportunities for adults as well. I didn't believe that, but then I saw something the other day online that said how many millions of dollars go unclaimed in scholarships. So scholarships are out there. It just takes some time and effort to pursue them. And like I've got on here, the short-term expense, but it's a long-term outcome. So, and really, I think if you price, I think there's some comparisons out there. If you price John Wood to other places, it really is feasible.
Yes. And we've got some charts that have, I'm looking, I don't have it right in front of me, but the average out of pocket, if we look at all of our adult students, 24 and up, when you take into consideration grants, which are state or federal grants or scholarships, that the average out of pocket for a year is around $500. And that's even taken into account books. Now that's an average, so don't hold me to that. But just so you know that it really can be very doable. And our team is here to help you with any of those opportunities that we can assist with. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Okay. So yeah, there we go. Taking into consideration, now this would be going full time. So this would be 16 hours per semester. The average grants and scholarships received, subtracted, ends up being right about $500 for that year. So for 2 semesters. And of course, this depends on everybody's personal financial situation. But this is just us taking into account, over the last year, all the people over 24 that are here, and taking that into consideration. So the FAFSA, Diane mentioned that you just fill in with your tax information. It's really not as intimidating as it sounds. And we do have people at John Wood that you can just walk in and they'll help you sit down and fill it out. You just have to have your tax information. So we can definitely help with that.
I believe that there's even a way to link to the IRS and link to your tax information to have it filled out.
To have it fill in, I believe.
I didn't use that, but I think I saw that as an option.
I believe you are right. You can also check with your employer. A lot of companies have employer assistance or tuition reimbursement that may not be openly advertised, but they might be able to help with that. And then if you're looking in at career and technical programs, so those would be, CAD, manufacturing, welding, maybe truck driver training. There are organizations that provide scholarships and work readiness programming for those programs, and some companies that will pay for you to go to school. So there's just lots of opportunities. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money for you to get that degree that you've been wanting. And John Wood is the most affordable in the area. I can say that with confidence.
And helpful.
And we're helpful. We try to be. We try to be. Okay, so we've got a couple questions, but I think we'll cover those here in a little bit. So can you work and go to school?
Absolutely.
Diane says yes. Randy, that was on our webinar yesterday, is working full-time as well. So because we know you have bills to pay, you have people that depend on you. So you can't just quit your job and
Right.
and go to school. So Diane's gonna share with us a little bit about that.
I'm not gonna lie when I say it gets hectic sometimes. Yes, it does get hectic sometimes. But like I said, time management's the best thing. Just finding the time, making the time. I've made excuses before and then had to make up for it on the weekends, like I said before. And I can't say enough about Andy, my advisor, really finding the classes that work for me. Like I said, I've done an evening class. I've done 8-week classes online. I've done 16-week classes online. I personally, I think I would prefer if I could make it to more classes that were actual in the classroom. Unfortunately, that doesn't work for me. So online does work for me, and so I'm going with it. I've had, like I said, I'm emailing professors and reaching out, and it does work online. And if you are able to come in classes, it's not just during the day. They offer evening classes as well.
Yes. And you could always do a mix. I know you talked about doing a mix of 16-week and 8-week, but you could also do a mix of online and in the class. So maybe you really want to take the English class in the classroom. So maybe you find that in the evening, and then the others you're able to take online. So it can totally mix and match.
Right. And there's time to change your mind. Once you have a schedule set, he always tells me it's not written in stone yet. If you change your mind, you think about it, and you need to be in the classroom for this one, we can change it according to availability. We can, move around and juggle. Or if it's not working for you and you say, hey, our next semester I really want to try it this way. You're not set in stone. I mean, I had started this with the thought of doing, the 2x2, the 2 classes at a time, and you're done in 2 years. I've made adjustments to it. I'm hoping, as long as everything keeps going the way it is, I'll be done in 2 years. But yes, I've had to be flexible with the scheduling part of it. So yes, it does sometimes get hectic, but it is possible to do.
Wonderful. Let's see. So one of the questions is, let's see, they're interested in structured classes, but what is it like for adult students mixed with traditional students in a structured class?
I've only done the one evening class, and it had a mix of adults and students, and I was so scared to walk in that first day. I thought, I'm going to be the grandmother of this class. There were other adults in there. It was fine. Nobody even really gave me a second glance like, oh, wow, she's old. So it was fine. No, I think that John Wood is so diverse in that category. I mean, I think that you're very much geared towards not the, what word am I thinking for? You're not like the cookie cutter student that's right out of high school. You're geared towards diversity in the age, and it didn't feel awkward at all.
Awesome.
Hope that answers that.
Yes, it does. It does. And I always share this one fun story. We were talking with a student, and she was doing a testimonial for us, and we were talking about this, what was it like, and did you like it, or was it difficult? And she said that it really added a lot to the class, because she was able to share so much more with them, and then they were able to really kind of bring her up to speed on things,
different perspective,
a different generation.
Mm-hmm.
And the best example that she gave was when they were talking about 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the only one in her class that remembered
because
9/11.
Yeah,
they were in elementary school, maybe even.
Yeah.
And so she was able to offer them some really rich insight into where she was and how she felt and how the world felt when that happened. So I think it's just as much a benefit as maybe something that you might be nervous about.
But I mean, I relate to it. It's a little nerve-wracking, but I survived and it went just fine.
Yeah, yeah. All right, awesome. Thanks for the question. Let's move on here. Okay, so Diane mentioned the 2x2 program. With being an adult student and having a family and having a job, most likely, this is a program that was designed specifically for that scenario. So the 2x2 program are specific programs at John Wood that have been identified that you can take all of your classes online. So that's business, accounting, finance, education, and then a general studies degree. With these, what makes it, we say bite-sized learning, you take only 2 classes at any one time. So you take 2 8-week classes at a time, and then in the second 8 weeks of the semester, you take another 2 classes. So that's going to get you your 12 hours, but you're not studying 4 different subjects at the same time. You're only doing 2 at that time.
And I've done it both ways. I've done the 16, I think I had 3 or 4 16-week classes at once, and then I've had 2 8-week classes followed by 2 8-week classes. The 8-week classes have more information condensed into a shorter time, but honestly, it was easier for me to juggle 2 classes versus 4. Because yes, you have to give a little bit more time to each of those 2 classes because it's a little bit more quicker paced, but it was just easier to focus on 2 subjects versus 4 for me.
Sure. And, with that, you can complete in 2 years. And Diane also alluded to the fact that she started with this and has kind of morphed. And as long as you're sticking to your plan and sticking to the amount of hours and the classes that you want to get accomplished, we're back to that mix and match type thing. So this is just kind of a blueprint to follow. So we've got a typical 2x2 schedule. So this just kind of maybe helps you visualize how you can do that. So the 16 weeks, our semester is 16 weeks, and that's split into the first 8 weeks, second 8 weeks. So from August to October, you're going to take these first 2 classes. First year experience, all new students take that. It helps you, talks about time management, resources at John Wood, how to be a successful student. So you can see that you would have those 2 classes. Then come October, those are completed, and you then take your next 2 classes. You can see in spring semester, follows the same suit. The 2x2 does utilize summer to get additional hours, and that's partially how you're able to complete in the 2 years, doing the 12 hours per semester.
And for me, let me interrupt here. The summer, it was helpful, I thought, which I decided to start in the summer. So I actually started in the summer versus starting in August, but I'm taking 3 classes this summer as well. And part of me was like, I want a break. But the other part is, while I've got the momentum going, let's just keep going. And, the kids, I don't have to worry about their homework in the summer. So I have a little bit more time to focus on mine too. So while my momentum is going, I'm going to keep going with it and do summer.
Awesome. All right. So we've kind of gone through some of the questions, and then I think we all kind of come back to, but what would it really look like for me? Like, all this sounds great in theory, but what, if I take this leap, what's the real life part of this look like? So I'm going to let Diane kind of go into this a little bit.
Well, let's see. John Wood has made this process extremely easy and simple for me. Any questions I have, they answer right away. The biggest thing is to keep your eye on the goal, work hard, anything's possible, but let me tell you the daily schedule.
Yep.
That's kind of what we're looking for, right?
Yep. So
like I said, we commute 30 minutes to school and work. So the boys and I leave the house 6:45 or 7 in the morning. I run my grocery errands or study at lunch on my lunch break. And then after work, the boys and I come home, and I either drop them at soccer or tell them to get started at their homework, I sit at the table with them and we all three do our homework together. We make dinner. Either sometimes we'll do the homework before dinner, sometimes after, but however it goes, we all three do it together. And let Dad do the dishes most of the time. And then, we once we get showers in bed, everybody good night. I may take a little break, and then I try to do some reading or try to do some other homework before I go to bed. I'm not one of those people that can stay up till 2 a.m. and then get up again at 6. So I'm usually in bed by 10:30 or 11. But my kids go down about 9:30, and I've got about an hour and a half to work on my things. And then again, I try to make up time on the weekends. So realistically, an hour a night. Realistically, I shoot for 2. Realistically, it's 1. And then I try to make up whatever I can on the weekends, because I work Monday through Friday. So I have the weekends. I have missed a few soccer games. The kids are understanding of that, but that's by choice. I would, I've told them it'll be worth it. I'll watch your soccer games in a while. I'll get to some of them. If I do go, I take it with me. I take my books with me, and I just try to get the Wi-Fi and do it in between soccer games as well, or in the car. Just kind of juggling. I have to plan. I used to plan week by week who was picking up the kids, what was the deal. I try to do week by week. Some days it ends up being day by day. And, I think flexibility is a big part of it. You have to be flexible. It's not always going to go exactly as planned.
Sure. So, that's great. And I really appreciate Diane being here and sharing with us and kind of giving us a glimpse into her experience and her day-to-day. And
if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Before we move on, are there any other questions that we haven't addressed? It doesn't look like it, so we will go on. If anything comes up while we're still wrapping up here, just let us know. So next steps, some of you might be ready to make the leap, or at least push one's foot off the ledge. And
when you come into I'm sorry,
I'm
interrupting again. When you come into the Gentwood office, it doesn't mean you have to, that day, you're 200% committed. You can just talk to somebody.
That's right. So, you can.
It says it there. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You can absolutely reach out. And like Diane said, I think you applied a number of times, right?
I did. I chickened out. I did.
Yeah. So applying is just kind of getting the ball rolling. It doesn't commit you to anything. It doesn't mean you have to start classes in June or even August. It's just kind of that first step. You might go ahead and file the FAFSA. That is going to kind of help you on the financial side of things, see what you qualify for, whether it's a grant, maybe it's a loan. It's going to give you insight into how you might be able to manage things on that side. These other details really kind of come into play after you make that initial application. But full disclosure, this is the admissions process, and it's really not difficult. The placement test, I will touch on that for a minute. It sounds scary, but it's not. All that is it is a test to help your advisor know what entry classes to put you into. And it's really focusing on math and English. So if you are a little rusty on math, maybe you start in math.
I did.
Oh, I know. or you start in that kind of transitional math to help you get up to speed. And that really helps you. It helps you not jump in where you're not ready.
Right.
So there's no pass fail. It's just to help them know what class to put you in.
You take the test for English and math, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they gave me kind of an overall how did you do that day, and then it went to my advisor, and I was kind of on the edge for math. You can go ahead and get in, or you can take this refresher course. And I chose to take the Math 020 refresher to get myself ready for the college algebra. And yeah, I don't know how I did as well as I did in the math test. Placement test, because it's been too many years and I didn't remember. So the refresher course was actually really good. It was a good thing to take.
Awesome. So if you're still not even, even though the application is easy, if you're still not ready to even make that step, feel free to come in, meet with an advisor. Feel free to visit. If you want to sit in on a class, if you're thinking about taking classes, if you want to just talk to somebody, we're here to help. Another thing that I didn't include on this list, but if you know you want to go back to school, but maybe you're not even sure what you want to study or what you want to, what career path, if you're switching industries or you're switching things up completely, we've got some great resources for that as well. We've got a career cruising program that will really go in depth with what you're interested in, what you like, what you don't like, and it'll help you come up with, not just astronaut or doctor or some of the, kind of out there careers. It'll really give you some wonderful career ideas, and you can dig into that and see current job postings in those areas, local job postings. You can see scholarships that are available for those programs. You can see what a day in the life of that type of career would be like. So that's another fabulous resource, and I can include that in the follow-up email. Here's a question that came in. Does going back to school really help you earn more money? Yes. Studies have showed on average that by having that degree, your salary or your pay goes up. You are more ready when the promotion comes up. You won't be overlooked. You'll have kind of your ducks in the row when those opportunities present themselves. And
some jobs I've looked at, I've been with the same company for 20 years and I'm as high as I can go without a degree. And some jobs, the degree at least gets you in the door, where if you don't even have that degree, then you don't even get considered. I've looked at some jobs that say degree required, and yes, I have 20 years of experience, but how can the degree can't hurt.
Right.
It can get me some doors opened that I didn't have before.
Exactly. And Diane is kind of sticking with the same business area that she's been in. But we do see some people that are completely changing industries.
Right.
And in that scenario, you can pick a really in-demand industry, and employers are just waiting for people to come in, some of the health sciences. I know some of our manufacturing, industrial maintenance, and truck driver training. If that's for you, there are never enough truck drivers.
And something else too is that we didn't discuss, and what I'm hoping to do is transfer into another school to pursue the bachelor's end of it.
Yes.
And I've looked at QU and HLG for like the adult learning to finish the bachelor's, and John Wood associate's degree. That your advisor can tell you what can transfer and what can't transfer if that's something you're long-term interested in.
That's an excellent point. That there are options too if you want to continue and get your bachelor's. And I know HLG and QU have accelerated programs that kind of in another 2 years you can graduate with that bachelor's, and all of our classes transfer. You just make sure that they transfer into the program at the school that you want to go to.
Right.
So that's awesome. We've got another question here. I was in LD classes in school. Will this affect me since I have trouble learning? It's hard to say. I think that there are a lot of resources available. I think, and we could try to connect you with some specific people that can answer these questions more specifically. But there are a lot of resources available.
I would definitely get in on the tutoring schedule for sure.
Yes.
That's been extremely helpful for me.
Yes. And if you have identified kind of where you have difficulty, I think that would really help. It might be that you want to focus on in class. You may want a structured class where you've got that one-on-one face-to-face with the instructor. You can that may be something that you want to consider. You can the tutoring schedule, and Diane touched on this, and I think Randy touched on it last night, that a lot of it comes down to you committing to putting in the time. We've got other support systems. We've got a representative on campus, Ryan Jansen, and he can assist you and help connect you with any of these resources, can help you with all different learning styles, can help you get extra time if you need extra time to take tests. The TRIO program that we mentioned, they help with not only meeting with you one-on-one, but they also help with tutoring. They can help you with books, that type of thing. So Kim asked that. Kim, I can get you in contact with Ryan, and I think he can answer those questions a little more specifically for you. But what I can tell you is that John Wood is here to help. Whatever your situation, we want you to be successful, and we'll do whatever we can to help you with that. Anything else I might have missed, Diane?
I don't think so. Just I know that it's it can be scary, but once you take that leap, you won't regret it.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for being here. I apologize for the technical issue that we had at the beginning. We will be sending a follow-up email with a recording of this webinar that you can listen again if you missed something or you want to listen to it again. And like I said, we are here to help you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We got one more question. I've taken classes before. It's been a long time. Are they still good? So if you're talking about college classes, probably, without knowing specifically what classes they were or where they were taken, we would have to look at that. But I will make a note to include that information and a contact for that in the follow-up as well. But we can take a look. Part of the admissions process is sending transcripts, so that would list out all of those classes that have been taken. And so when you talk with your advisor, that will be part of your plan. Like, here's what you have, this fits into your degree plan, and then here's what you have left. So yes, that's awesome. But as long as it fits into the degree that you are looking to go to, they should still be good. All right, well, I'll stay on here for a moment longer. If you have any other questions, feel free to type them in the Q&A. And I just thank you guys for being here. And please reach out and let us help you in any way we can. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you guys soon.